What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Trevor in this play Spyro the Dragon Part 11. We are here in the wrap-up video. This is where I will talk about the trivia and show off anything that I might not have been able to in the game. And in this case, I will do the trivia really quickly. I just realized that I need to do the show the demo for Crash Team Racing, but I'm going to do that last. That will be the last thing that I will end on. I'm going to go ahead and do the trivia first for this game, so I'll go ahead and start. Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage is the second game in the original Spyro series. The protagonist of the series, Spyro the Dragon, decides to take a vacation to Dragon Shores with his friend Sparks a few years after defeating Nasty Nork. The portal he enters accidentally takes him to the land of Avalar because the Professor, Alora, and Hunter are trying to bring a dragon to Avalar. A sorcerer known as Ripto has invaded the world of Avalar and is wreaking havoc on its citizens. With his magic, idols come to life and attack the creators. Eskimos are encased in ice cubes, and a civilization of seahorses has had its water confiscated. Spyro must travel to the land of Avalar, undoing the damage done by Ripto and ultimately defeating him. The game came out in November 2nd, 1999 in North America, and was and was put on the PlayStation Network on May 7th, 2009 for North America. Setting: Ripto's Rage is set in Avalar rather than the Dragon Realms, where the previous installment was set. The world of Avalar is split up into 3 homeworlds, all of them named after a season of the year: summer forest, autumn plains, and winter tundra. All three homeworlds feature a certain number of realms, 1 or 2 speedways, and a boss realm. Avalar's name may have been derived from the legendary island Avalon. The dragons of the previous installment have been replaced with an entirely new cast of characters, including fauns, satyrs, anthropomorphic animals, and robotic businessmen. Playable characters are Spyro. Non-playable characters: Sparks the Dragonfly, the Professor, Hunter the Cheetah, Alora the Fawn, Zoe the Fairy, Moneybags the Bear, Crush, Gulp, and Ripto the Riptok. Gameplay flows in a manner similar to the original game Spyro the Dragon, with a few variations in control and Spyro's new abilities and attack. The only notable difference is the removal of Spyro's side-scrolling ability previously activated by L1 and R1, which some would argue was useless in the first place. Returning ability: Spyro retains the ability to jump and glide, and he is only able to fly, gain altitude and speed rated levels, or with a certain temporary power-up. Spyro can attack with his fire breath and his charge. He can take down many varieties of enemies with either attack. However, metal armored enemies are impervious to Spyro's flame, and enemies much larger than Spyro are immune to his charge attack. The new ability Spyro has acquired. Spyro also acquires a variety of new abilities throughout the game. Toward the beginning, Hunter teaches Spyro to glide, and he includes instructions on how to hover at the end of a glide in order to gain extra height. Many levels were designed with this in mind, and this game accordingly contains longer glide distances than its predecessor, Spyro the Dragon. Moneybags then teaches Spyro a few new abilities. Of course, all of these come at the expense of a small fee of gems. The abilities Moneybag teaches Spyro are swimming, climbing, and then the head bash. The power-ups, the power gates. In addition to Spyro's returning and new abilities, many levels in the game feature power-up gates, which give Spyro a special ability for a limited time. Backtracking is often necessary to obtain all the collectibles in certain levels. Clever and persistent players can, however, get around certain obstacles without the use of the intended skills or power-ups. For instance, For instance, in Glimmer, Spyro can reach the landing above the ladder in the Crystal Cave using the Superfly power-up outside. Okay. Features: after the success of Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2 went a little further to make the series bigger. These features were introduced in this game. The map: this was the first game where Spyro could call upon a map to find out where he was. The map feature was similar to the Legend of Zelda's map feature, except that it could only be viewed in the bottom left corner of the screen. Spyro's location appeared as a beam of light in the map, with the exact position of Spyro being the smallest point and the largest point being where Spyro was looking. The map feature did not carry over onto Spyro Year of the Dragon, but was used in other Spyro games as an alternative pause screen. A bigger story, more cutscenes were used in this game than the previous installment. There were also shorter cutscenes that played when entering and leaving the various levels, which eliminated the animations of Spyro flying directly into the next level and doing an aerial backflip. Instead, after the cutscene plays, there is a blackout, and when the lights come back up, Spyro is waiting to move in a level. There was also a more personal feeling to Spyro 2. The Spyro 1 cutscenes continue to be part of the Spyro franchise. The dialogue box. When speaking to characters in-game, dialogue boxes appear in Spyro the Dragon. All the dialogue, whether in-game or cutscene, was spoken without a dialogue box. Not that they were needed. You could understand most of the characters. Spyro does not talk to anyone in game in Spyro 1, only in the cutscenes. Reoccurring characters. The dragons in the first game were cool and all. Well, this is kind of a more the writer of this kind of added this, so I'm not going to worry about this, just that they're reoccurring characters. I guess Spyro introduced friendly characters that inhabited all the levels Spyro visited and followed Spyro throughout the game. Safe homeworld. Spyro enemies were removed from the homeworlds, giving Spyro safe places to recuperate and explore uninhibited. Mandatory boss fights. In Spyro the Dragon, you could skip the bosses and go to the next level. Also, the boss resided in the worlds that were similar to the normal realms, with enemies and gyms and dragons. The boss battles in Spyro 2 were required to progress through the game, and you fought in an arena with no collectibles whatsoever. New types of death. Spyro can die more realistically. There is actual lava in this game, whereas in Spyro 1, every level that had some kind of liquid was a different version of a drowning pool, even if it looked like lava. And when Spyro lands in the lava, he is sent into the air with a scorched posterior. If he dies in the lava, he ends up burnt to a black smoking crisp, where he will stand straight up and fall onto his back. Other deaths include getting spun by means of getting slapped or having something swung at you, while Spyro will spin to face the camera, balancing on his right leg, only to fall forward shortly after and getting eaten by a robot shark, where Spyro will just disappear as the shark does a chewing animation. Also, the water in this game does not always kill Spyro. The developers took advantage of the dragons cannot drown concept and applied it to this game. Ending objective. Instead of finding all the required items in a level, Spyro is given a one-of-a-kind item at the end of the first 14 levels. After that, he has to go after the less rare orbs. Gym radar. Starting with this game, Spark can help Spyro find any gyms nearby by pressing the shoulder buttons. This is very helpful if Spyro is trying to find gyms that are in clever hiding spots. Hover. This game introduces an extra action to the triangle button to hover at the end of Spyro's glide and gives Spyro a little extra boost so he can reach hard to reach platforms. Alright, so for the realms, I'm just gonna say how many levels there were. So for Summer Forest, there was 6 regular levels, 1 speedway, and 1 boss fight. For Autumn Plains, there's actually 8 regular levels, 2 speedways, and then 1 boss fight, making 11 levels there. And then for Winter Tundra, 4 regular levels, 1 speedway, and then riptos boss fight, which only puts it at 6. Reception. GameSpot gave the game an 8.6 out of 10, saying that it injected a dose of soul and variety into the game that was already pretty fun to play, while a user score of 8.9 was given on the same site. IGN gave it an 8.8 out of 10, stating that it is fun and exciting. That it is a fun and exciting platformer. In Japan, Famitsu magazine scored the game a 30 out of 40. Dan Johnson made his first cameo gag in this game. This gag is more common in the Ratchet & Clank series. When the game was released on the North American PlayStation Store, it was pulled out from sales less than a week later because of reports that idle springs and Colossus were not working properly. The glitch has since been fixed and the game has been re-released. During gameplay, Spyro is always seen frowning as possible. The developers did this purposely to give him a tougher appearance. This was later changed in Spyro Year of the Dragon. Comically, though, some fans believe Spyro was frowning because his vacation was ruined when he suddenly arrived in Avalar. As seen in the first cutscene, the Dragon Realms, more specifically where Spyro and the other dragons live, has changed in appearance. In the first game, it looked like a combination of Stonehill and Dark Hollow. It now looks like a mix of Stonehill and Autumn Plains. One of the enemies in this game is an early prototype build of Ratchet & Clank. Beginning with this game, Tom Kenny became the voice of Spyro. He would continue to voice Spyro until Spyro A Hero's Tale, where he was replaced by Jess Harnell. The Italian voice of Moneybags is made by Alessandro Ricci, the Italian voice of Solid Snake. Okay, so now I'm going to do uh, the cuts. I don't want to exit the level. I want to exit the game. I'm now going to do the CTR demo, and we'll get out of the game. By punching in the code and do that. Let's see. I have to wait for the main menu. Yeah, this screen to come up. Let me see. What was the code? Aha, here we go. All right, so at the start screen, hold L1 and R2, then press square simultaneously. I didn't do it right. That enters the demo mode, but that's what you're supposed to do. You press and hold L1, R2, then press square, and that will take you to the. Get out of here. Then that will take you to the demo of CTR. Let's see, L1, R2, and square, and that, like I said, that takes you to the demo of CTR, and it's a let's see if it actually works. The disc should be okay, but okay, there we go. It's kind of an odd demo. Well, let me see. Before I say much more about it, I want to see what they let you do. Okay, so you can see here, you can play 1 player, 2 player, or 4 player. I'm only going to play 1 player because I don't have 4 controllers. To start up, and you can see here it has a tip for you. I don't know why it's cropped like that. To start a power slide, hop by pressing and holding the R. Oh, okay. So you can see the difference, or the one big difference is, well, there's a lot of differences, but the character portraits look a lot different. Usually you'll see that in demos where the character portraits will look quite a bit different than what the final product, final products do, as well as box placements. But there should have been one complete box there. I believe the people that are different are, well, Tiny, Engine, Crash, Polar. Oh wow, I did not actually expect you to catch up to me. Crash, Tiny, Polar, Engine, Coco, maybe, and I even think Pura. But there's also a big difference with the game that you have to play the demo to see. It's that it's actually very clunky and slow. Like, I should not be this slow at all. Like, the power slide does nothing for me, and I am kind of spoiled with the power slide boost, or bonus. But even then, I shouldn't be this slow. Like, I am very slow. I've never had this much trouble gaining speed before. And Dingo shouldn't have been able to beat me. But you can see, there you go, Tiny's in 4th place now. You can just see how different his portrait is to the final release. It looks very similar to a demo portrait of Tiny from Crash 2. And you can see Crash's portrait, Polar's portrait, I've already pointed out. Sadly, we can't see Coco's portrait. Well, I guess we will see it. Well, hopefully we will see it at the end here. But yeah, I mean, it's very weird. I'm actually surprised that it is so different. Well, this different. I mean, you do have differences with these kind of things. You can see it's very different from the way that it would. Then you have the CTR banner at the start-finish line. It doesn't seem to throw the portraits up. And may be waiting for all the other players to finish. And you can see Coco got eaten there. Huh. Well, I will go ahead and quit, and I'll see if I can do the 2-player and the 4-player stuff. I doubt I can because I don't think I have the controllers, but I'll still give it a try anyway. But yeah, you know, that's you know, a very, very big difference between the final game and the original game. Like I said, it's very slow. The controls don't seem to be quite as precise as they were in the original, or you know, I mean, in the final version. And so we'll go to 2-player. Like I really don't know whether or not it will let me do this. I guess this is the loading screen, and you can see what it says here. Okay, so I guess it does let me. I'm actually surprised. But you should be able to see the portrait. So player 2 would be playing Cortex. I am playing Crash. Player 1 will be playing Crash. Player 2 would be playing Cortex. It looks like Engine got caught behind Cortex there. And you can listen. I don't know. Maybe you may have not heard that, but the sound for the Wumpa Fruit is different. The armadillos are missing there. The sound that it makes when you get a boost or when you get a power up is different. It's kind of like a high-pitched Wumpa Fruit noise. Yeah, it's still very clunky. The controls are still very clunky while in 2-player, but the armadillos are missing here. That would be, you know, that should be here are of course missing. And you can see Coco's portrait. I know it's a very small portrait, but you can see that it is different from the original version. You know, from the final version. It seems like Crash may turn a little bit better. That's probably what's catching me out. He definitely gets around these tighter corners a little bit better than he does in the original or in the final version. So that may be a big difference that I'm not used to. But yeah, I'll definitely say that's a big difference that I'm not quite used to. I'm thinking he's just a little bit tighter in the original, and that's what I'm more used to. Oh no. So now I will do 4-player really quickly. You know, none of this is important. None of this is special. It's just showing off the tracks that you get to play in the demo. You know, you get to play all these tracks whether you have other people or not, which is very nice, and that definitely helps. But yeah, that's very nice. So we'll go to 4-player really quickly, and this gets to show off, and I get to show off the 4-player and the 2-player and all that, which is always nice. So you can see what 4-player split screen is. So player 1 is Crash, and you can just see how bad the art is, and you just look at all the characters there. You know, Tiny doesn't have his shoulder spikes. Crash doesn't have any hair on the top of his head. Of course, this doesn't look like, you know, it. This looks a lot different than in the original or the final version, of course. See, the background looks very different. You know, it's very hard to see anything in the background. And the draw distance is very, very tiny. I mean, you see there that none of the posts or the end posts are there. Of course, the CTR banner wasn't even there in the single player version, but at least the goal posts were. But even those aren't there in this version. and you can see the smoke from the other characters is very dumbed down, and nothing there really, and the ice is different, just different things I'm trying to point out as I'm going along here. And I would guess that the shortcuts are still there, of course, because of the lack of speed. I doubt I will. I know I'm not gonna make this. Oh wow. Yeah, I was gonna say there ain't no way I was gonna make that. I messed it up coming into that last section, but thankfully it doesn't seem like it blows anything up in there. But yeah, this is the demo for CTR. And there you go. And you can just see how bad Crash looks there. Like it's nothing really. But anyway, so we'll go ahead and come back here now. There is something that I want to talk about that I haven't really touched on a whole bunch, and that's the skill points. The skill points, what they do is they let me see here. Sometimes a special challenge comes along. If you master this task, you'll hear a special sound effect, meaning you've just gained a skill point. Collect enough skill points and you'll get a surprise. Well, I'm not sure what exactly skill points are. The game doesn't talk about it at all, and I haven't looked around for all of the skill points, so I'm going to actually take a look at the information again really quickly and see if I can find anything out about the skill points really quickly, and hopefully I can. I don't know that they didn't talk about it at all through here, so I'll just sit here and try to see if I can look for a skill point really quickly, or something that talks about the skill points if I can. Let me see. Well, I'm actually surprised they don't have anything about it. Well, I have an idea. Yeah, I'll look through it a different way. Alright, so skill points are hidden bonus objectives Spyro can complete in Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, and Spyro Year of the Dragon. There are 16 skill points in Ripto's Rage, and 20 in Year of the Dragon. Skill points usually consist of obscure and often seemingly pointless things like breaking a record, destroying all of a certain creature or item, or jumping and gliding to a specific hard-to-reach area. Spyro is awarded an extra life for every skill point. Once all skill points are completed, an extra page in the guidebook is added called Epilogue, which shows what happens before the events of the game. Okay. Well, let's do the skill points. For Aquaria Towers, destroy all the seaweed. Much easier after getting the permanent fireball. Colossus, perfect score in hockey. Fracture Hills, run 3 laps of the supercharge course. Hurricane, destroy all the small windmills. Idle Springs, land on top of the small idol near the Hula Girls. Scorch, knock the coconuts out of all the trees. Esquilo's Badland, destroy the quartet of cat bats and all the cacti. 3 skill points for defeating each level boss. Stop being wounded. There's a 4th one if you hit Ripto before fighting Gulp. He's on the throne before Gulp, and this is a lot easier once you get the Super Fireball power up permanently. 4 Speedway skill points. Finish Ocean Speedway and Canyon Speedway in under 1 minute 10 seconds, and Icy Speedway and Metro Speedway in under 1 minute 15 seconds. So sadly, I can't do that. I've never been able to do the skill points or anything like that, and I do apologize for not being able to do that, but you know, it is what it is. At least I know what skill points do now. So anyway, so that's everything about the game, about Spyro 2. So thank you for watching. There won't be a challenge video since this is a wrap-up video. So thank you for watching. Next project I'll be doing is Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon. So until then, later everyone.